this is just a general. This is just a general session. There are no real particular matters from our side, other than one or two maybe to briefly be raised with you, and then to open the floor for you to ask questions, to engage with us so that we can seek to support you in whatever way we possibly can, in whatever questions you might have. Maybe it's on progress in your way forward with SAQA, the university, with OCRPL, your supervisors, and how we can assist you in any of those ways to make it a bit smoother for you in this PhD journey. The one matter, dreaded matter, which I have to raise with you and remind you of, is the fact that doing this research is an investment. It's an investment of various things. It's an investment of your effort, your mind, your energy, your time, and a lot of sacrifices are made by your churches, your institutions, your family, and of course personally by you as well. And part of those sacrifices which you understand is required for this journey of education is a financial one. It's a financial investment and it's a financial sacrifice. Enrolling through OCRPL at the university, whether that's Stellenbosch University or Pretoria University, still comes at a cost. Let me remind you of the arrangement that we have with the universities to smooth out the process, both for you and for the universities. We take it upon ourselves as an administrative staff at OCRPL to handle a lot of the administrative matters on your behalf. Some of that has to do with registration matters, but a large part of that is also financial matters. So we have arrangements with the university and a memorandum of understanding that we recruit the students, which refers to you, and then we bring the students to the universities for enrollment, and there's a process that students have to go through in terms of meeting administration requirements and prerequisites, obtaining in some cases SAQA clearance, and then managing on behalf of the students their finances. So the universities are not concerned about raising the funds from the students or obtaining the funds from the students. We pay those fees on behalf of the students to the universities. It's the normal general tuition fee for any other PhD student, mostly international PhD students, other than the fact that because you are OCRPL student, there's typically a wavering of certain fees because you are OCRPL students, like your international levy, amongst others. So you do benefit in that regard to be OCRPL students. We then pay the universities on your behalf those tuition fees, and then we issue you with an invoice from OCRPL to be reimbursed for the payments which we have made on your behalf. Now the matter that has to be raised here is that we keep records of those invoices which we raise and which we issue to you, and we keep records of the payments which we receive either by yourself or on your behalf. If you have a sponsor or an institution that puts money towards the funding of your studies, and we have records for each student. We have a student account, and from time to time we issue students with student statements, and your student statement will reflect the tuition fees that have been raised for the various years and the payments that have been received by you or on your behalf, and it will reflect an outstanding balance in some cases, and unfortunately in most cases. If you have been awarded with any kind of scholarship, it will also be reflected on your student account that you've been awarded with a scholarship, and that will be deducted from your outstanding amount. So for the 2023 year, for those of you who have met the admission requirements at the various universities, you have been informed by the university and through Andre that there might have been certain things that you needed to do to complete the registration. If you are at Stellenbosch, if you are at Pretoria, they graciously take care of the registration process for you, but you have to submit certain documents, maybe like passports that have been outstanding and has expired and things like that to complete the registration process. So that process is done now for 2023, and students that qualify to be registered at the universities are now all registered at the universities, which means that they have issued us with student accounts, and we have now since gone ahead and we have raised invoices. All that to say is you will very soon receive a student account statement, which will reflect your financial position with OCRPL and the amounts that are due by you to OCRPL. And that's a very important matter because unfortunately for a very long time, it seems like some students have not really bothered to think about the financial implication of their PhD studies and have not made any kind of financial contribution towards their PhD studies. And so I have to address this as a very serious matter, that those funds or those outstanding amounts are due by you, and it could affect you moving forward for further years registration if we do not see any progress in your contributions towards those outstanding funds. So if and when you receive those statements and anything is unclear on those statements, then please be in contact with myself, and I would happily clarify anything for you to assist you in understanding what's going on that student account. So that's the one aspect that I wanted to just raise with you as a student body, is the finance side of it. The second aspect that I just want to raise as an introduction, and then Andre can contribute anything that he wants to contribute to that, and then we'll open the floor for any kind of questions or discussion that you would like to have administratively. The second one is your progression. If you are already registered with the university, then your progression is a matter of concern that has been raised by the universities to us as an OCRPL faculty, that some students are very slow in their progression. And we need to remind you of the timelines. Once you are registered, which means you have obtained your clearance from SAQA and you have presented you to the university for admission, Andre, you can correct me here if I'm wrong, but then you have a maximum of 2 years to get your proposal approved by the department, your specific department in the theology department at the university. A maximum of 2 years to have your proposal accepted. If you fail to have your proposal accepted in 2 years' time, then you're going to find it very difficult to register you for another year, and you might have to take a year's deferral to get your proposal finalized before you can go back to university for further admission. That's the one timeline to keep in mind, is the acceptance of the proposal. The second timeline you have to keep in mind is the timeline of 4 to 5 years. Now, I understand that most of you, if not all of you, are considered to be part-time students because you are also in some kind of vocation, probably full-time vocation in ministry or lecturing at a seminary or a university or another institution similar to that. That is taken into consideration, and but the university's timeline, once you are registered as a student in the program, is 4 years. So you have to complete your PhD in the 4-year time frame. If for any reason, legitimate reason, you fail to complete it within the 4-year time frame, you can apply for an additional year of extension towards the end of those 4 years. But the university will consider that in line with the progress that you've made up to that point in time. So if you've made very little progress in the 4 years, you might find it difficult to get the approval for an extension of another year. And I'm emphasizing that because I think some of you are already, by the end of 2023, approaching that 4-year deadline. And the progress really hasn't been that satisfactory. So it's an important and a very crucial thing for you to keep in mind. And it's not completely within OCRPL's hands to determine how long you get to complete the program. The universities have their policies and their procedures in terms of what they have to keep, they have to stick to it. So your progress is very important. It's not a case of just enrolling and then sitting back and say, well, this is can take me 10 years. That is a concern, and there are some legitimate concerns raised with that as well, in terms of the time frame allowed to complete the PhD from the point of starting the proposal. If it takes you more than a certain amount of time, what has changed since, and would the proposal change, and all of those kind of factors that come into play there. So those are two matters that I put on the table for you to take into consideration as you stay in the program, as you keep working, and as you keep making those sacrifices to get to the finishing line. Andre, are there any matters regarding those 2 points, firstly, that need to be emphasized in addition?
No, G, I've got nothing to add on those 2 points. I've got a few other things, but nothing specifically on those 2 points, no. Okay,
well, I think raise those other matters quickly, and then we can just generally open the floor to some questions that Bishop Zako already has a question. I think there's a question in the chat as well, but I think let's just give our story first, and then we can take questions on any of those matters.
Okay. Right, if you have just pasted now in the chat box, it's a link to a Google Sheet. You will remember in past years, as well as this year, we'll have time at the end of each day for students who want to speak individually with faculty members. So that tutorial booking sheet is now in the chat. I will send it via email as well. When you go to that sheet, you already see there's one, which is from Sam Abraham, who requested earlier to meet with Dr. Chris, I think on the 24th of May. Yeah, I'll send that out via email as well for those that aren't here. And a reminder, those tutorials are only available on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of each week, not on a Monday and a Friday of the 3 weeks. Then I also just want to remind students, Bishop Callisto, I'm sure you noted that you are leading the devotion tomorrow, and to point out to other students to please check the schedule to see when you are leading the devotion in the morning. And then a few more things with regards to Turnitin. If you are trying to log in to Turnitin and it's not working, please check that you are at the correct Turnitin site. We fall under the UK Turnitin, so you would need to go to turnitinuk.com and log in from there. If you go to turnitin.com without the UK part, it will attempt to log you into the American Turnitin, and it will say your password is not valid. So please make sure you visit turnitinuk.com. All of those students that requested accounts in the chat earlier, I've done all of those except Milson and Zaka. You're already on the system, so I couldn't make an extra portfolio for you. If you go to turnitinuk.com, you can just click on forgot your password when you get to turnitinuk.com, and it'll reset the password for you, but you're already there. And then the last point on Turnitin, the only person who wouldn't have received anything yet is Wanda. I'm still working on that, but it'll be with you sometime soon. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Okay. I'm just going to share the screen here. So when you look at the sheet where you can book a time during those tutorial sessions, you can create more space there. So it doesn't mean because Sam Abraham already booked that slot on the 24th that it's full. If you want to meet with Dr. Rollin on that same day, that's fine. Just put your name underneath there with Dr. Rollin. Obviously, if Dr. Chris is already occupied on that day during that time bracket, he is not able to meet with you as well. Then choose a different day and book him for a different day. But if it's a different faculty member, then you can book on the same day and request to meet with that faculty member on that particular day. Okay, Bishop Zaka, please go ahead. You see you have a question already.
Yes, Dr. Gee, sorry. My proposal has been accepted, and except for some one or two little things. So we started the process of the registration, and we followed the process. Sometimes we had problems, glitches with the network and whatsoever, and I think it was from their own end. Sometimes the portal was closed, not open, what and what not. Patiently, we have followed all the process to the end. And we were waiting, I was waiting to hear from them, and it took a long time. Then I called Andre, and I find out from Andre if he can help me find out what's going on. Just for him to come back and say that the university said I've not completed my registration, and they could not talk to him. They will have to talk to the students. So I'm just wondering what's the issue. This thing has been a bit worrisome and frustrating to me, because at some point the portal was shut down. When they asked us, this is the date we are going to continue, we went on that, we did it on that same day, and we had some problems. At the end of it, we finished everything, and we were waiting to hear from them whether the registration is completed or not. We didn't hear anything. And when Andre contacted them, the response is that I have not completed my registration. What is the issue? They didn't let me know. They couldn't tell Andre. So I don't know what I'm going to do next. Of course, Andre just gave me, I think, a website, and he said that I should write them. So I don't know, what am I going to write to say?
Thanks. Thank you, Bishop. So what I sent you wasn't a website, it was the email address for the...
Okay, it was an email address, yes.
Yeah, the International Registrations Office. So the issue was not in the normal registration office, it was in the international pre-registration clearance. But like you said, you filled in the forms, you sent the sponsorship letters, everything, which is why you need to just email that address and ask them what is the problem in that office. And then once you get feedback from there, then we can go further again.
Okay.
Yeah. Zaka, I think you just need to be on it. You just need to be on it now. Let's make sure that there are no delays. So follow that instruction and send the email. And then when they reply, forward it directly to Andre and myself so that we can follow it up immediately, so that there are no delays in between.
Actually, I've been delayed. I've been at this mountain for too long.
Yeah, so that's why I say let's just follow the instruction immediately. Don't delay in sending that email now. If you can, send it out today already, and then we can follow it up immediately after you've sent it, because they need to hear from the student. That's clear from them. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah, and then we can meet later in this week as well. Let's get it done throughout the process of this seminar.
Sure, I will do that immediately.
Follow up.
Whatsoever is the response, I'll get back to you very quickly.
Okay, good. Fred, I know you're waiting. I'm just wondering if Dr. Chris had a general comment or something specific. So I want to ask Dr. Chris first to come in, and then we'll go to you, Fred, to your question.
It was just to say, to build on what you were saying about people's time limit, It does mean you've got to be fairly disciplined in carving out, I would say, at least a day a week, if not a day and a half, 8 to 10 hours a week for your research. And by that one means uninterrupted time, so that you take a block of time, preferably a whole day, because a lot of time can be taken if you're doing it in dribs and drabs, getting back to where you were when you left the work, 4 or 5 days ago. It's much better to take a block of time, a whole day if you can, a day and a half, that you just concentrate on your research, on your reading, or on writing up, doing some library search online or whatever. It's much better to do that as a concentrated form than in dribs and drabs. And you should budget and let your organization or your colleagues or your employers know that you will need at least a day and a half a week to do your research, because this time factor by the university is fairly strict, and you've got to show progress. If you can do more, 2 days, that's even better, but it should be at least a day and a half that you should budget and put in your diary and tell your colleagues and your family, those are my research days and I'm just not available. And in that regard, please do your all down to make a presentation during the seminar. And that can be either a pre-proposal, proposal, a chapter you're writing on, or a particular section you're writing on. Please prepare that well in advance. I think we're asking that they be sent in so we can all read them beforehand. G, is that right? That we have them a couple of days at least before you're due to make the presentation. And also we'll be inviting your supervisors and mentors to sit in on your presentation. So please be, I think you're all scheduled to do presentations. Please be thinking what you're going to do and have something ready and send it in to G and Andre at least 2 days before you're scheduled to make it, so we can have a chance to read through beforehand and then have a very fruitful session with you. Thank you, Dr. G.
Yeah, thanks to Chris for emphasizing that. There will be a Google Drive folder created as well, where you could upload those presentations 2 days in advance before you are due for your presentation. Your name should appear on the schedule if you are due to make a presentation. Obviously, students who are in a very early stage, we're not asking you to do a presentation at this point in time. So if your name is not on there and you do seriously want to make a presentation, then please just contact us and we can see what we can arrange. But the rest of you, just check your name when you are due. And 2 days before that, Andre will create a Google Drive folder, which you can upload your presentation to, so that we can go through it and read it and be prepared to comment effectively on that presentation. Okay, Fred.
Yeah, thank you. My question has to do with the completion of my thesis. I started the program in 2019 with Stellenbosch, and then later on, because of the number of researchers who was split into two, and the rest of us were seconded to Pretoria. And so basically, let me say I started in 2020. So this is 2023. And so I want to ask, based on what you said, 4 to 5 years, so when am I expected to finish? I'm currently on the campus, Pretoria campus, and I'm having a meeting with my supervisor on Wednesday. But that's more reason why I'm asking, because we want to sit down and work out a schedule for the completion of my thesis. So what will you say to that? Also, how can I approach it when I get with her on Wednesday?
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Fred. Yeah, it's a valuable question. It pertains to you specifically, but also generally to the rest of the student body, because we have drawn up, Andre has graciously drawn up a Excel spreadsheet which shows all our students and how many years they've been registered at the university. So if you are unclear on how many academic years you've been registered, then you can inquire of Andre to just inform you where you are at this point in time. It sounds, Fred, I don't have the sheet in front of me right now, but it sounds like this will be your 4th academic year. Andre can confirm that for you, which means that should you not complete this year, you'll have to apply for that 1-year extension. Discuss that with your supervisor. That's a good idea, because the supervisors do also represent the university. They are aware of the policies, and they also write, by the way, progress reports on each and every one of their students. So if you have been silent and you have not been contacting your supervisor because you haven't been working on anything, it's not going to count in your favor. If you have to ask for extensions at a later stage, make sure that you're in regular contact, even if the unforeseeable happens and you fall ill and you're not able to work for 3 months. Make sure that you update both your university supervisor, your OCRPL co-supervisor, and I would even say Dr. Chris and Dr. Roland as the program leaders, the PhD program leaders as well, so that we are aware exactly of what's happening and whether there's any period that you're not making any progress. Communication is really key for all of us in assisting everybody that's involved in this entire process to know what's going on, and it could just benefit you at a later stage. Do you want to comment on that, Dr. Chris?
Well, just to ask, you say, G, that he would be in his 4th year. If he'd started in 2021 would be year 1, 21, 22, year 2, 22, 23, year 3, and therefore next year would be his 4th year. Well,
remember, South African universities work on calendar years, January to December.
Yeah.
So if you registered in 2020, that would count as 1 academic year.
Yeah. So
21, 22, 23 will be his 4th year. Because 2020 counts as 1, 2021 counts as 2, 2022 counts as 3. So this would be his 4th year, because they work on calendar years, January to December.
G, can I come in there and just maybe ask you something, if you agree? So I'm looking at Fred on the sheet specifically. So his first year of registration with the university was 2020, but his proposal was approved on the 1st of March 2022. So prior to March 2022, he would have been registered in the pre-program before your proposal gets accepted.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't think the pre-PhD would count. We'll have to clarify that, but I don't think that would count. It would be full admission to the PhD program. Yeah. So you might have an additional year there, Fred.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would only be from 2022.
It is definitely it is definitely from the full acceptance of the proposal.
Okay.
That's when it counts from.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Milson, yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Andrew. My question is on SAQA clearance. That's where I am stuck even now, and I'm wondering what next step should I take in order for me to get the certificate or cleared or something like that.
Yeah, so I can answer that with one word: persistence.
Sure.
Keep sending. I know I've told you this before. Keep sending. I mean, Dr. Chris alluded to it this morning, and I hope Michael Obat won't mind me using him as an example. So Michael also applied twice to SAQA because he heard nothing after his his first application, and he waited 2 years until he got a result. So it can be quite tedious to wait, and then all I can say is just keep bombarding them with emails requesting updates.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yeah. While we're on that topic on SAQA, it is unfortunately a process that is delayed for many of the students. I think what is key is when you do the application, make sure that the application is complete and you've provided all the documents that are required. Check that with Andre. I know most of you that is the case, and that's not the reason why it is delayed, but that could create additional delay if you do not provide all the correct documentation and complete the application. And then once the SAQA outcome is known and you do not receive the required clearance, there is an additional process which we could follow with the university, a recognition of your prior learning. The thing is just that the university is not, based on the O policies and procedures, allowed to consider recognition of prior learning without a SAQA outcome. So we have to wait for the SAQA outcome first. And if you do not receive the required clearance for admission into the PhD program, they can still do a recognition of prior learning based on your previous degree and looking at the research work that you've done in the previous degree. It's not a guarantee that you will get admission to the program, but it is a possibility. So just to clarify that aspect as well.
Dr. Gee, my hand is
Okay.
up.
Just a second there, Zaka. Milson, does that answer your question? Your hand is still raised?
I need to drop my hand down because you have answered my question.
Good. Okay. All right, Zaka, I see Jacob Opata's hand is no longer up, so please go, Zaka.
Okay, just wanted to find out whether this SAQA is the same with this ethical clearance committee.
No.
Okay.
Okay, Zaka, let me clarify. Stellenbosch students do not have to worry about SAQA.
Oh, good. Okay.
So SAQA does not concern you. Ethical clearance is a different process at the university, and all students, whether Pretoria or Stellenbosch, will go through ethical clearance. There's just two different steps. So if you are doing any empirical work that involves questions to and discussion groups with human beings, then there's an additional process for ethical clearance, which you will answer on when you submit your proposal for acceptance. If I recall correctly, if you go through the process, maybe it's question 19, unless it's changed now, where you will have to answer whether you are going to involve human participants in your research work. When you answer yes, there's an additional process that you go through where you answer a number of questions, and that goes then to the ethical clearance committee. And they then look further at whether you meet all the ethical clearance requirements in your research proposal, in terms of the level of risk that is involved in your study. But if you're just purely doing not involving human participants, then you will answer no, and it will not require an additional ethical clearance process for you. That's for the students at Pretoria University. There's another process that for you at Stellenbosch University, which when you get to that point for ethical clearance, Andre can also assist you with the process of going through ethical clearance at the university.
Okay, can I just ask a little thing? This human you are talking of, could it, whether it is communities or individuals, one will just have to answer yes, it will involve human beings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Correct. There will be a questionnaire that you will have to answer. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Jacob?
Thank you. I think I also have a problem with SAQA. I've been submitting letters upon letters, and once a while they will come and write that we will attend to you. We will attend to you. So since I heard you said Stellenbosch, you don't need Saka. I'm thinking, why not change to Stellenbosch? Or it's not possible to do that.
Yeah. Jacob, it's not possible to do that because OCRPL does not have a continued memorandum of understanding with Stellenbosch University. So we started off with Stellenbosch University and have a number of students that are registered there, but we are phasing out that partnership. So the current student body registered at Stellenbosch remains at Stellenbosch, but all new OCRPL students go to Pretoria University. So the only way that that would be possible is if you go to Stellenbosch University as a private student and not as an OCRPL student.
Oh, okay, thank you. Also, last year, when the president from Pretoria, University of Pretoria, came to do his presentation, I remember he said something like, if we are having challenges with Saka, there's a way they can help us. I don't know whether that was what you commented on or there are other ways. So I remember I heard that statement.
Yeah.
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 Thank you. So I don't know whether something that can be done. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think it was Professor Van Eck, who's no longer with Pretoria University, but the same policies apply. And I think in that context, if I remember correctly, he was referring to recognition of prior learning. So he said, if you're having problems with SAQA, not in the sense of your application, but in the sense of the outcome, and you do not obtain the required clearance from SAQA to meet the prerequisite admission requirements at the university, there's a way that they can help you with recognition of prior learning. But it's even difficult for the university to assist with the application process. The only thing there is we are all equally frustrated with that, unfortunately. And we can talk about it all day. It's not going to help or change the situation. All we can do is make sure from our end and from your end as students, we complete the applications correctly. And then we pray. We just pray and be patient and persistence, as Andre had said. So patience, prayer, and persistence is what is required with SAQA. And eventually, unfortunately, there's a delay in that, but it doesn't have to. If you're waiting for SAQA, don't stop researching, don't stop writing. Continue to work, continue to research, continue to engage with the program leaders. And if you have been appointed a co-supervisor from OCRPL yet, keep working, keep researching. You heard earlier, for those of you who were in the session with Dr. Chris, that throughout a process of a year or two, he was gathering information. And then certain things started to become clear. So if you just sit back and you wait because you're waiting for SAQA, then you're going to be set back a year or two before that aha moment, before clarity comes. So keep engaging with your research topic and keep refining your proposal. And you can even start working on certain aspects of chapters that will follow later as you research and as you keep writing. So just continue to do as much as you possibly can from your side, and don't be idle because you're waiting for SAQA. Dr. Chris.
Can I add to that, G, that your progress with OCRPL is not affected by SAQA at all. So your engagement with an OCRPL supervisor, which you will have right from the beginning, that's not dependent on SAQA. SAQA is merely the process by which, the administrative process by which Pretoria recognizes the qualifications of your previous studies automatically, as it were. In other words, if they tick certain boxes because you've been at certain universities, then that's it. If it doesn't work, as Dr. G says, then we go through the RPL route. If that doesn't work, then we look for other alternatives. But keep working, keep developing your proposal, keep doing your reading, your literature research, etc. Your work with OCRPL is not affected by SACA at all. Thank you, Dr. G.
Yeah. I just want to, Bishop Naughty, I see your hand is raised. I'll get to it now, just to respond to a message that Sam Abraham, you send me a direct message, a chat on the chat. I just want to respond to that quickly, because we do have another student here as well, Victoria, that's with us. And if you have submitted an application like the two of you have very recently, then what we will do, the next step is we will invite you to an interview. And I wonder, I'll speak with Dr. Chris and Dr. Roland and see if we can maybe schedule that sometime throughout the seminar. If a tutorial session or a Monday afternoon or something along those lines are free, Dr. Chris, we might be able to schedule those interviews during the seminar. So Sam Abraham, that will be the next step. Victoria, for you as well. We will contact you to set up that interview with you once we have gone through your initial pre-proposal, and then we will discuss that with you and discuss the process moving forward after that interview. I just wanted to address that question very quickly. Bishop Naughty.
Thank you so much. My question is actually to Andre. Andre, thank you so much for all of your efforts in getting me to behave. I want to confirm if you've gotten the contract form I had to redo, and I sent it to you last Friday. I want to confirm if I'm okay now.
Yes, Bishop, the news is good. They did accept the second version of your contract that was accepted, yes.
It's okay, fine. So what next? What do I need to do next to ensure that my registration is through?
No, that will complete your registration. So you don't need to do anything further.
Okay, so now I have to go on with my work and contact my supervisor?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so the other thing is that for like 2 years or thereabouts, I've lost, is it a year or a year, about a year ago, I am not sure if the same supervisor, now that the registration, because at the point, because of the SACA issue and the registration and all of that, nothing happened. So I want to be sure if I'm still working with that same supervisor.
Yep.
Can you confirm that for me?
I'm just having a quick look at the list from last week that I sent.
I believe it's Jacques Bekers.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
Is that it,
yeah.
Bishop? Yeah.
It's still
Okay.
the same supervisor. That's correct.
Yeah.
So I could
Yeah.
so I can go ahead and contact him now.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you.
just a reminder, Bishop Naughty, your co-supervisor is Dr. Chris, who's here with us, and this is a
Yes,
reminder to all the
yes.
students. So once you make contact with your university supervisor, make sure to copy in your OCRPL
Yes,
supervisor
yes,
and the other way around.
yes. So, Dr. Chris,
Yes.
yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to send, you had, but the last time we met, you had a meeting with me, you asked me to redefine my my title and all of that. I have done some work, so I'm going to send it to you, and then for your inputs before I send it to the supervisor.
That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you. I will do that today.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Any more questions? Something anyone want to add?
So, Dr. Gee,
Hmm.
can I ask a question again?
Yes, please, go ahead.
This contract, is it still part of the registration? The signing of this contract, is it part of the registration process?
I think that was a Pretoria student.
Yeah.
Andre, does
No,
the,
no,
unit-
Stellenbosch.
Oh, Yeah.
Well, if Bishop, if you are referring to what Bishop Naughty was talking about, that is a separate process that Pretoria has. You have completed all of the processes you need to at Stellenbosch. Is just one roadblock at the pre-registration office, which is what you need to find out
Okay.
from that email address that I sent you.
Okay, okay.
right, Dr. Chris, I think that covers it. I don't see any more hands.
Right. So, well, what we might be able to do then is use a little bit of the time we have in hand just to complete the introductions, and just flag up we're all ready for tomorrow. So let's first of all have the introductions from those who we haven't yet heard from. Richard Mulindwa, are you there? You seem to be coming in and out. Are you online at the moment, Richard? If so, would you like to give us a short introduction to your family, your ministry, and your research, please?
Yes, Canon, I've been on, praise the Lord. It's such a joy seeing all of you after a while, since our previous seminar last year. And I want to thank God for keeping all of you and in a good shape.
No, let's cut out the frills, get straight.
My name is Reverend Mulindwa. I'm married to Deborah. We have 4 children, and I work with Uganda Christian University here in Kampala, in Mukono. But I'm also an associate priest at St. Francis Chapel in the Diocese of Kampala City. I'm looking at the drivers of and the current church stand on infidelity among the clergies in the Church of Uganda. And I want to appreciate all of you, especially the OCPL family, for supporting us in any way possible. Thank you so much, Dr. Chris.
Thank you very much, Richard. Quite a few of you from Uganda Christian University, but different campuses, of course. Let's see, Victoria, are you able to, are you with us? Are you able to say something to us about your ministry? Where are you, Victoria?
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry, it's very late. Yeah, at night. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria. And my Chinese name is Jing, and I'm from Shanxi Province, China. And currently an IT consultant at Accenture Hangzhou. I'm also as a Sunday school teacher in local church. Yeah, this course, I think this seminar, I think is very important for me, especially for the Dr. Chris. Yeah. Recently I have submitted my proposal and to waiting for the response. Yeah.
And what is your topic? What is your topic you're researching, Victoria?
Yeah. My research, I wanted to research some as machines become more and more like humans, a study on the faith education for the next generation in the church. Yeah. Yes, this is my title. Yeah, I want to talk about maybe the for the new generations, with the developing of the information technologies, such as the big data, cloud computing, and the internet. So the next generation has a more has an impact for this the development of the information. So I wanted to research about this maybe to connect to the face education, the next generation, the education. Yeah.
So AI, IT, and
Yeah.
and the church. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good, Victoria. Victoria is
Yeah,
our
thank-
first researcher from mainland China. So,
Yes.
you're very,
Your
very well.
application. Yeah. Thank you.
Christine Zakbasu, are you there? We tried to get you this morning, but we couldn't hear you. Are you there, Christine? We're still not getting her.
I'm here.
Oh, right.
Dr. Chris, I'm here.
Good, right. Please introduce yourself. Let's see your lovely face and your family, your ministry, your research.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Chris. I'm Reverend Christina Japasu from Ghana. I'm doing Old Testament studies. About to finish, and so I'm popping up all that I have gathered. I'm supposed to give the whole work to my supervisor within the week, so I'm just doing that round.
And you're in the Methodist Church, yes?
Yes,
This is-
Methodist. Yes.
Well, you're obviously very busy getting your material ready, because I know you're wrapping up the whole thing. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And then another
Thank you.
Christine
Yeah.
Nakyayune. Christine Nakyayune. Are you able to greet us with your? Are you there, Christine? Christine Nakyayune. Now, we don't want people to be just leaving their tiles on and they've gone off and done something else. So you'll be found out. Okay. Kanal G, are you there, Kanal?
Hello, Dr. Chris. Yes, I'm here. Yeah. Thank
Hello.
you. Thank you.
Face, if you can just greet us.
Hello, namaste. Namaste. This is Kanal from Kathmandu, Nepal. I'm living in Kathmandu and serving with an organization called Nepal Christian Society, which represents about half of the churches and Christian organizations in country. Of course, church size is not that big. My topic is Christianity in social change and looking into the public witness of the Nepali church. I have kind of completed all my major chapters and sent to my supervisors last month, and waiting for their comments and suggestions, and also preparing the conclusion chapter. Thank you very much.
So there we are. And the young Christian church in Nepal, how long has the Christian church been actually open in Nepal? There have been Christians there for many years, but how long have you been open?
Nepali church is 20 years older to me.
20 years older.
That's about 70 years old. Yeah, thanks.
So well done for
Thank you.
the stage of wrapping it all up. So well done indeed. Okay, so the only person we haven't yet heard from is Christine Nyanakuni. Are you there, Christine, again? She's in the States, I think. No. Right. Well, we seem to have brought today's conclusions to an end. Please do your very best to join us promptly when we start. We don't want to lose time waiting for people. We will continue, but we start tomorrow promptly at the same time. That's GMT 10 o'clock or IST 11, BST 11 o'clock. Dr. Rollin, your hand is up. Please speak.
Thank you. Let's get this on. I just wanted to say that a few sessions coming up are workshops, not lectures. And you will need to do some preparation for that, for the purpose of proper good use of time. and some thinking about it too. So the workshop that's on Wednesday on biblical and theological engagement with your research will be the first one. And there will be 2 of those. Another one will come on Friday so that we can have enough time to go over the issues with each student. And then the other session like it is an engagement with ethics in your research. There are several sessions on ethics, but one of them is a workshop, and it's like the biblical engagement. So what I need you to do for that is to write down something along these lines. What biblical texts are you looking at, and what biblical topics are you looking at that relate to your research? And then the same thing for the ethics seminar. What ethical issues are you touching on? Now, you're very likely not writing a whole lot because on that, because your field of work is something else. It might be in ministry, but at some point you're engaging with biblical texts, and so we just want you to identify what that is, so that when in the workshops you can say what that is, and say something about how you're engaging with that. The main purpose of those workshops, though, will be for you to move ahead in your writing. So the purpose isn't for a report. It's to engage with you so that you can move ahead. So you might say, well, I'm looking at this text, and those of us involved can say, have you considered this about that text? Or why haven't you considered this text as well? Or if you're looking at justice in Scripture, that's a topic that so we can talk about that. So we need you to identify those things and be ready in the seminar to say that. Now, hopefully, Andre, you can help us with that so that students can submit that before Wednesday, so that we all have that available. I'll let Andre speak to the best way to do that, or Gerhard.
Yeah, Andre can speak to that. I wanted to just add, or I can just say, Andre can create a similar Google Drive folder, please, Andre, for that to be dropped in. But I thought it would be helpful while you speak about that, Roland, to just be clear that this is mostly for the pre-proposal cluster. I've put on the screen there for you. And if we can identify those sessions, we're all just absolutely clear on what we are talking about. So on Wednesday, the session that Dr. Roland is referring to is this session over here, Biblical and Theological Research, Part 1. And you will see that this is for the pre-proposal cluster. Those of you who are in the writing cluster, those of you who were with Caroline this morning, you are in the writing cluster. The clusters are broken up here at the top of your schedule, which Andre sent out the latest updated version this morning to all of you. If you didn't receive it, please reach out to Andre to get the updated version. But this is the writing cluster and the pre-proposal cluster. You look for your name over there, and then you will know in which cluster you are. So if you are in the pre-proposal cluster, what Dr. Roland just spoken about, this is for you. The session on Wednesday, this session, Biblical and Theological Research, and then it's followed up on Friday with Part 2, with Biblical and Theological Research. And then the session on ethics is on the 30th of May. It's that session over there, ethics workshop. So you will see this is for the pre-proposal cluster. Look at the schedule. Thank you, Dr. Chris.
Yes, and to say that the reason for this, friends, is that, well, there's really 2 reasons. One, Oxford Centre for Religion and Public Life, where we're focused on, as we said this morning, challenges to the church and its ministry. And clearly, when we think about those challenges, we think of them with particular input from theology and biblical studies or biblical resources. But secondly, we are registered with the Religious Studies and Theology Department of Pretoria University, and therefore, from an academic point of view, it's going to be important that there is a religious studies or theological dimension to the work you're doing, because the department would say, well, why is this in our department? Why are you looking at it? Why are you registered in our department if there's no theological or religious dimension to the work you're doing? So that's the reason why we're having these workshops, so that you can, it doesn't mean to say the whole of your research becomes an analysis of a particular biblical text. As Dr. Rowan said, it's you're drawing on those resources. What are the biblical resources or texts you're going to draw on or particularly investigate with reference to the research you're doing? Yeah. Thank you. Fred George, you have a question.
Yeah, I think it's on that general. I know that it's been a while that we have a residency seminar. I know it's quite helpful in connecting with other students and getting to know each other. Of course, online, it's good too because of technology. But I think it would be ideal to, have a residency seminar maybe once in every 2 or 3 years, but it's been a while now. I think it was 2019 that we had one last. I just want to ask if there's a plan for that. And if
well,
not,
thank you very much. You're quite right that face-to-face and in person is preferable. Of course, we didn't have the one in 2020 or 2021 because of COVID. We just couldn't do that because of COVID. But also, Pastor Fred, you must realize that for some of our colleagues, a residency would be just beyond their resources and even beyond possibility. So, for example, Kanal from Nepal or Victoria from China might find residency almost impossible, both financially and also in terms of politically, might find it almost impossible. So, yes, your point is taken, and there are some like you, and Jibu Nainan is doing a residency in Pusey at the moment. Those, if you can make use of those, that's fine. But we have to be aware also that for others, it is very, very difficult indeed. In fact, impossible. So that's why we're doing it this way at the moment. But your point is taken, and we might respond by saying that arranging for a residency for those who can, and with the opportunity of a short residency.
Yes,
but the universities have been very understanding and have allowed us to commute this online seminar to be accepted by them as residential equivalents, and that's a great step forward and great help. Bishop Zaki has yet another question.
Yeah, Dr. Chris, I want to ask you a question, but it's going to be a bit private.
Okay, well, we can do that separately. We'll do that separately.
Yes, after the lectures.
We'll do that separately. We'll be in touch separately.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll Solomon Obasi, please come.
Yes, thank you. I think some time back, part of the discussions about OCRPL becoming the vision of becoming an institute independent of partnership from other universities. Not necessarily that there won't be any partnership, but that it awards degrees. I think there was a conversation to that effect in the past. We don't know where that is, or maybe even at the moment, some of our students are graduating. Is it possible that some kind of testimonial giving to say they were part of the OCRPL family? Just a question. Thank you.
I don't understand the last question, Solomon.
Yes, the last question is talking about a question raised earlier as well, the possibility of, say, maybe those who have graduated.
Yes.
Is there some kind of testimonial to say they were part of the OCRPL family during their study days?
When you say testimonial, what would they do to fulfill what you're suggesting?
No, that they have graduated and were part of OCRPL family. Some kind of testament. I don't know. Just a question.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe a certificate. Yeah, like a certificate, you know, that one attended.
Oh, an OCRPL certificate in addition to the university one.
Yes,
Is
I
that
think
what
so.
Aha, right, okay. On the university certificate, G or Andre, are you aware, do the universities put that they did their study in conjunction with OCRPL, or don't we get mentioned at all?
Yeah, we don't get mentioned. That's intentional because the accreditation environment in South Africa is very stringent, very strict. And because OCRPL does not possess its own accreditation with any outside body, specifically government recognized accreditation. The South African Accreditation Department of Higher Education would not allow that. So the university's hands would be tied. They would definitely not allow that. What OCRPL can do is we cannot give a certificate along the lines of any conferring of a degree, a PhD, but what we can possibly look into is just non-accredited fellowship, workshops, seminars, and part of a family, a fraternity of researchers as an institute. But we can't confer anything along the lines of a partnering PhD program or anything along those lines. The South African Department of Higher Education, if they would trace that, they would there would be serious ramifications for the universities in South Africa if they were to allow that. So it's a bit of a sensitive and tricky issue.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, G. Okay, well, it's 3:30 UK time. Thank you very much, everybody. We've had a good attendance. It seems to me it's been around 33, 35. I know some of you have had internet challenges. Those of you with internet challenges, please, if you can, find somewhere where there is a steady internet access. We don't want you to miss the input from these sessions, which are really very practical and very helpful in terms of developing your studies. So we close off tomorrow, and we have Callisto Odede, I think, is it doing the devotions starting off, and then Dr. Vinay, one of the founders of the program, is speaking on using data at 11:15. Then Professor Daniel on research ethics at 12:30, and in the afternoon I will be leading a session on doing a literature review. So using data, research ethics, and literature review are our topics for tomorrow. Okay, everybody, thank you very. Shall we close by saying the grace together, and then we can wave each other goodbye for the rest of the day, and God bless. Okay, say that may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ,
Jesus Christ, the love of God,
And
the fellowship of the Holy Spirit,
be with
us now and forevermore.
Amen.
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 Christine, you kept quiet until now you are talking.
No, I wasn't quiet too.
Christiana, you didn't say anything. Now you are talking.
Oh, I said something.
The best time to talk is during grace.
Yes, oh.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Same to you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Kuris.
Bye-bye.